memorization. We're setting up an actionable, rule-based workshop right here, right now, to literally eliminate your study anxiety forever. Seriously, if you've ever just stared at a textbook until your eyes crossed, you are in exactly the right place. Now, I want you to really feel the weight of this quote from our source material today. Third year of pharmacy school, I had an exam in 4 days covering 11 drug classes. Over 500 individual side effects, forgetting almost all of them within 48 hours. Wow, it's a universal, overwhelming pain, isn't it? Trying to rote memorize endless academic data, staring at reading lists, highlighting them in 3 different colors, rereading the exact same lists, only to realize the information just vanishes the second you close the book. So why do side effects, or really any dense lists of facts, why do they never seem to stick? Think about your current study method for a second. You see 12 to 15 side effects for a single drug class, right? You force them into your brain, you recall maybe 5 or 6. Then you move to the next list, and poof, that first one starts fading instantly. This old method of brute force memorization, it's essentially like trying to fill a bucket that has holes in the bottom. The information goes in, sure, but there is absolutely nothing holding it there. Which brings us to section 1, why rote memorization fails, the biology of memory. Okay, let's dive right into this, because I want to reassure you right out of the gate, your brain is not broken, not at all. Your method is simply fighting against human biology. You see, our brains don't store information the way a computer hard drive does. You can't just save sequential files with no context and expect to retrieve them perfectly later. Instead, our brains actually work as a network. They store information in webs of connected meaning. When new information connects to something you already know, something vivid, structured, or even emotional, it stays. But when it arrives as a plain, numbered list with nothing to attach to, it slides right back out. This is exactly why well-built mnemonics are the ultimate fix. They literally plug the holes in your memory bucket by creating those crucial connections. All right, moving on to section 2, 3 rules for perfect mnemonics. Stop the memory leaks. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, well, I've tried mnemonics before and they just didn't work for me. And hey, I completely hear that. But honestly, most fail because they lack a solid foundation. There are exactly 3 rules to our system. Just 3. Break any single one of them, and the entire mnemonic completely falls apart. So let's burn these 3 rules into your mind right now. Rule 1, the 3-second rule. Listen, if you cannot recall your mnemonic within 3 seconds of seeing the drug class, it's a bad mnemonic. Full stop. You do not have 30 seconds at a patient's bedside to reconstruct a clunky acronym. Rule 2, personal meaning beats borrowed meaning every single time. It has to mean something to you in your own language, your culture, or your own experience. And rule 3, which is absolutely crucial. Always link the mnemonic back to the drug's mechanism, the why. Side effects aren't random, right? They flow from what the drug actually does in the body. Connecting to the mechanism creates a fail-safe backup for your memory. Let's put this to the test in section 3, building a mnemonic fast. Live demo, statins. I want to challenge you to follow along with me right now to prove just how quickly this works in practice. Let's take statins. The high-yield side effects we absolutely need to know are myopathy, rhabdomyolysis, liver enzymes raised, pregnancy contraindicated, and CYP interactions. Step 1, extract the first letters. We get M, R, L, P, C. Step 2, arrange them into a meaningful word. Well, MRLPC doesn't spell anything. But what if we focus on the mechanism? Statins affect muscle because they reduce CoQ10. So let's use the word muscle. M for myopathy, U for rhabdomyolysis, the severe end of muscle damage, S for serum transaminases raised, C for contraindicated in pregnancy, L for liver toxicity, and E for enzyme interactions. Step 3, test it immediately. Same muscle, expand it. Boom. In under 5 minutes, you've tied the drug's mechanism perfectly to its side effects. And just like that, we're at section 4, the 7 mnemonic toolkit, your permanent library. Did you just build that in your head with me? That is exactly how simple and powerful this process is. Now, I am going to hand you a tangible toolkit of ready-made mnemonics. Let's kick off this rapid-fire sequence with our very first drug class, ACE inhibitors. Now, what's really interesting here is that the drug name itself is the mnemonic. CAPTOPRIL. C is for that persistent dry cough. A for angioedema, a literal medical emergency. P for proteinuria. T for taste changes. O for hypotension. The next P is for pregnancy, completely contraindicated. R for renal impairment. I for increased potassium. And finally, L for leukopenia. That is 9 side effects, completely impossible to forget because you already know the word. Let's keep this rhythm going, shall we? We're moving on to a highly dangerous, incredibly important drug class, aminoglycosides. For this one, we use the word NANO. It's a tiny word, sure, but it carries a massive amount of clinical weight. N is for nephrotoxic, specifically proximal tubule damage. A is for auditory, meaning ototoxic hearing loss. The second N is for neuromuscular blockade, which is super dangerous in myasthenia gravis. And O is for only avoid in pregnancy due to fetal nerve damage. 4 major dangers packed into just 4 little letters. Okay, I need to pause here and drop the upbeat tone for just a second, because this is deadly serious. The ototoxicity, the hearing loss from aminoglycosides, is very often irreversible. A patient does not get their hearing back. This explainer isn't just about passing your tests. It's about saving patients. NANO isn't just a clever study trick. It is a mandatory patient safety checklist. You absolutely have to monitor their hearing and kidney function. Moving right along to corticosteroids, our mnemonic here is CUSHINGOID. What's brilliant about this one is the drug literally becomes the disease with long-term use, Cushing syndrome. Break it down. Cataracts, ulcers, suppressed immunity, hypertension, increased blood sugar, necrosis of the femoral head, growth suppression in kids, osteoporosis, increased weight, and depression. That's 10 side effects perfectly mapped directly to the condition they cause. For tetracyclines, the mnemonic is MAT, short, sharp, and highly critical. M stands for avoiding in children under 8 due to bone and tooth staining. A is for interactions with antacids, milk, and iron. T is for teratogenic, so avoid it in pregnancy. And the final T is for triggers photosensitivity. These 4 rules matter enormously when you're counseling young patients and women of childbearing age. You've got to warn them about the sun. Next up, NSAIDs. The mnemonic is aging, and I love this because the word itself perfectly reflects exactly who is most at risk from these drugs. A for antiplatelet effects, G for GI irritation and ulcers, E for elevated blood pressure, I for impaired renal function, N for not in pregnancy, and G for gout worsening. And here is exactly why this matters way beyond the exam hall. NSAIDs are mostly over the counter. Picture an elderly patient with kidney disease who might just buy some ibuprofen for a headache without overtelling you. That one single purchase could cause a GI bleed or an acute kidney injury. This aging mnemonic trains your brain to catch those potentially fatal over-the-counter drug interactions in vulnerable patients before they ever happen. To wrap up our toolkit, we have typical antipsychotics. The mnemonic here is DAMP EF. This brilliantly reflects the dampening effect these drugs have on the entire dopamine system. D for dry mouth, A for agranulocytosis, M for movement disorders, P for photosensitivity, E for extrapyramidal side effects like Parkinsonism, and S for sedation. See? Dopamine dampened everywhere. All right, Section 5, Beating Exam Day Panic, the 3-step protocol. We've built all these amazing tools, but what happens when you sit down, look at the exam paper, and your mind just goes completely blank under extreme pressure? Well, here is your 3-step protocol. Step 1, say the mnemonic word only. Don't try to remember all the side effects at once. Just breathe and think muscle or CAPTOPRIL. Step 2, write the letters down vertically on the margin immediately. Actually, physically writing activates a completely different memory pathway. Step 3, expand one letter at a time, slowly. Give yourself about 5 seconds per letter. This smart memory architecture gives your stressed-out brain a gentle, stepwise task. You aren't trying to recall the impossible. You're just following a trail that you already built for yourself. Almost at the finish line. Section 6, the Sunday Review Habit, Permanent Pharmacology Recall. To build a truly permanent library, take just 10 minutes every single Sunday to scan through your mnemonic words. Just expand each one in your head. If it takes you longer than 3 seconds to expand one, well, review it. That simple, tiny habit compounds into permanent mastery over time. So I'm going to leave you with this final thought and challenge. Which drug class will you conquer first, using your own 3-rule mnemonic? Pick a drug we didn't even cover today, find its core mechanism, and build a word that actually means something to you. The system is in your hands now. Apply it, trust it, and watch your study anxiety completely disappear. Thanks so much for joining.